Over the past week, I've had a number of conversations with MSPs talking about issues with accounts receivable. And it's conversations that start with like, I'm a little light on cash all of a sudden, or I'm not sure why. I don't have as much cash in the bank as I feel like I should. And clients are paying me late. This is one of those topics that's not super sexy, right? This is sort of an eat your vegetables kind of a topic. Today we're talking about your accounts receivable process and to make sure that you have something solid in place before you run into these same issues. And if you're already having these issues, today's video is going to help you solve a bunch of stuff. My name's Adam Hanneman. Welcome to Ramblings of a Geek. It's finally warm enough for me to be outside in short sleeves, which is great, except the nets are out. And so you'll probably see me dealing with that a little bit today, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get started. I already had to move once. The gnats were just too bad where I was. I was kind of protected from the little bit of a cross breeze. And so I found a place that's a little bit less protected. Hopefully the gnats don't carry me away here. So let's get into the actual topic at hand, which is the whole accounts receivable process. And I want to start with all of this with the idea that MSPs are too frequently left to the back of the line to get paid, right? Clients have a finite amount of cash. MSPs oftentimes are super nice. They don't really want to be the bad guy. We're always there to help people out. That's really kind of why we're probably doing the things that we do as an industry. And so like being kind of a stickler about getting paid and making sure that you're not the last in line to get money from a client feels foreign, right? And the thing that I've noticed as well is that many MSPs don't necessarily understand what's in their contract, what they need to be doing. That whole process about like late fees and cutting off service and all of that just doesn't feel awesome. And you don't really want to do that to your clients. And so that's the first thing, right? We need to get over that as an industry. We need to make sure that we make our clients prioritize paying us for our services because they are essential to their business. Now, here's the thing, is that plenty of the things that we do are essential, but not apparent every single day too, right? So if you think about a client that doesn't pay their internet bill, that gets cut off and they feel that immediately. Well, if you are not doing their Office 365 or G Suite licensing and you're doing remote support and they don't rely on you on an everyday basis, I can see how a client might like put you to the back of the line because they don't really need to pay you in their mind until they need you. And there's that push and pull. So I want you to start thinking about that a little bit as I work my way through the rest of this video, because this is a really important thing to think about is really trying to make sure that your clients understand that you are there for them and you're going to help them out, but you can't be relegated to the back of the line when it comes to getting paid. The other thing I'm going to ask that you do, and this is sort of a prerequisite to doing most of what we're going to talk about here, is that you need to understand what's in your MSA. You need to understand what your process is, and not what you think it is, but what it is based on the documents you have your clients sign and agree to, because there are some situations where your MSA may set you up for success or set you up for failure. And I want you to think about that and like make sure you understand that. And if you don't understand what your MSA says or what it means, like what some of the terms in there mean, or like what your collection stuff looks like, this is the time for you to talk to your lawyer. I'm going to talk about business level education here, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is business owner level advice. So that's some of the things we're going to get into here. So let's get into some options and ways to make sure that you don't end up getting paid last from your clients. All right, so let's talk about some levers that you can pull to get yourself paid on time and ideally automatically, right? Because the first lever is all about making autopay the default. Make autopay so blindingly easy for the clients, blindingly easy for you to deal with, and just set that expectation. Right? Let's say you are signing up some new clients, and what I would suggest that you do is the very first thing you do is you just sort of set the expectation and set the default to be, hey, client, super happy to have you on board. The way we work is as follows. We're going to invoice you on like the 10th of the month, and then we're going to go ahead and pull money from your account at the end of the month or the first of the following month or something like that. It's like just set the expectation that this is just how everybody at my company does this. This is just how all of our clients do it. And here, can you give us our ACH information or credit card information or whatever else? And like, just make that be the norm. Make that be just the easiest, most straightforward. As a matter of fact, this is just how we operate. We don't really do checks anymore. Just set that as an expectation, because just setting it as an expectation, you're going to get some number of clients going, no problem, happy to do it. It's actually easier for us, or nope, we get it, we understand, we also want to get paid too as a business, right? So those are some things that it's worth just leaning into as just sort of the default with your clients. So if you've got some clients that are kind of on what I would consider to be your naughty list, right? The clients who don't pay you on the regular, or they pay you when they need you, or they're always late, or whatever, I might suggest that at some point, especially if that client is kind of a pain in your butt otherwise, that you say, look, love you as a client, you're good people, whatever, but in order for us to continue to do business, I need you to auto pay. And if you're not willing to do that, then we might need to find you a new MSP, right? Like you could go as far as that. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that you do that immediately, but it wouldn't be the first time, right? If a client is not paying you regularly and you're always having to chase them down, and if they're a pain in the rear for other reasons, are they worth being a client of yours? That's what would be sort of that end game, that nuclear option sort of an idea. The other thing you could do too is say, hey, look, we're shifting to auto pay only at the end of the year, help us get you there by the end of the year, please, right? Just kind of making it default and ordinary, and this is just how we're doing things. And again, most of your clients are going to move along with it. And then you're going to have a few that are going to be sticks in the mud and they're not going to want to do it. And that's a thing that you're going to run into. You then at that point have the opportunity to say, well, you're worth it as a client, or maybe no, you're not worth it as a client. And making sure that you have essentially that as their default option is, in my mind, the smartest thing to do, especially if I'm building a brand new MSP today. Auto pay is just how we do things. It's how we've always done things. And this is the thing we're going to move forward. And you can decide whether or not you are willing to take on a client that wants to write you a check. That's up to you. Not only do I do these videos about once a week, I also release a newsletter about once a month. The newsletter is an opportunity for me to talk a little bit more about what's going on, what I'm seeing, places I'll be, things I've got going on, and some other content I have coming up as well. So if you'd like to join my newsletter, I'm going to drop the link on the screen and the description of the video below. I'd love it if you join. The second lever is make sure your terms aren't like net 30. Net 30 is more for suppliers and product sales, not so much service sales. So if your terms are net 30, bring them down to like net 10, net 15, or due upon receipt, right? Those are simple things to do, really not that big of a deal, and just let your clients know and move on. Now, again, if you do the auto pay thing, and I really like the idea, especially for like the monthly recurring invoices and maybe even the normal like break fix stuff that maybe comes up, is you say, here's your invoice on the 10th of the month, we're gonna pull on the 30th or the 1st, and let us know if you have any questions, and just make that be normal. The idea is that you want to remove the ability for your client to like give you the Heisman and not pay you for 30 days. And then that's when they're officially late. And by then you're already into like an extra couple of months. And if you're paying for their Microsoft licensing or G Suite licensing or other things that come out of your pocketbook every single month on like the cloud services and stuff, or you're paying for hardware for them and they're not paying you for 30 days or whatever, those kind of things, like push all of that down. Now you might get net 30 from your upstream distributor, but that doesn't mean that you need to extend that to your client. So I wouldn't. In fact, especially if you're selling hardware, especially if you're selling like lots of hardware, I would require a down payment or a full down payment. You gotta pay me up front for all of this stuff. Kind of don't care what this looks like because this is how we do business. We're not the bank of you. We need to be a for-profit company for ourselves. And especially with all of the volatility on prices and stuff, just write us the check now, send us the payment, whatever. I realize I just said write a check, but it's sort of that's more figurative than literal. Get us paid for the stuff that we're going to order for you, and then we'll order it, especially for this expensive hardware stuff. Otherwise, have your terms not be net 30. Like net 30 is not a thing that I think that you need to do in an MSP space. I just don't think it's worthwhile anymore. And especially if you're starting a brand new MSP, just make sure your terms are like net 10 or due upon receipt for everything. And if a client really needs some terms or they need to push it out a little bit, you can have that conversation, but if you just set the expectation that this is how we do things, it may be conversations point for some of your clients, but not more than one or two, I would think, over time. The next one is enforce your late fees. You should have late fees in your terms of service or your MSA, whatever term you're using in your contracts. Enforce those damn late fees, guys. Like don't let your client not pay you and then just give them an interest-free loan until whenever they pay you. Late fees should be baked in. That should just be how you do things. Your accounting package can just deal with that for you. Just do it and move on, right? That's how they operate. That's how literally every other service company operates. You're gonna hear me talk about the internet provider a few different times in our conversations today, right? If you don't pay your internet provider on time, they're going to charge you a late fee. And it's probably not like a 1% late fee, although it all depends on your contract. But like, they're going to charge you $30 or something if you're late, whatever that looks like. So make sure that you have late fees in your contracts and enforce them. Because if you don't enforce them, and this comes back to my original conversation point around why we always last, because if there's no penalty to not paying you on time, people will not pay you on time. If you're getting some value out of this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, do all the YouTube stuff. It does really help me. Also, I'd love it if you would tell me what your late payment strategy is. Like, what happens when a client pays you late or doesn't pay you at all? What have you done? What are some of the stories that you've run into? Because those are always fun conversations to talk through. The next thing I want to talk about for a minute is that you want to automate some of this follow-up stuff, right? Oftentimes, you send out an invoice to a client, maybe they don't pay you right away, you send them another an email, and you do it a couple different times, but then you forget because you're busy. And all of a sudden, this invoice thing has dragged on for a while, and that's a problem. So automate the invoicing, right? Automate the follow-up, and at some point, the automated follow-ups require someone to step in. But if you use a tool that plugs into QuickBooks or your PSA that automates invoicing for you, let that tool do it. There's a bunch of them out there. I'm not going to talk about any one in particular because that wouldn't be an endorsement of any way. But like, the idea is that if your system can do it, and QuickBooks can, by the way, your PSA, if you're invoicing your PSA, probably can as well. There's a bunch of ways that you can automate those follow-ups, and that way you as an owner, and frankly, whomever's doing your bookkeeping, whether you have a bookkeeper or you have accounts receivable person or a controller or whatever else, they don't have to follow up on the, hey, you're like a couple days late type of a thing. As the term winds on, they get more and more repeat email notifications. Hey, you haven't paid your bill, pay your bill, right? Automate some of that stuff, because a lot of times it's just people being busy on the other side, or their accounts payable person is busy and they just forget about stuff or whatever, and it falls to the bottom of their inbox, and those automated reminders might just like close up some of those gaps as well. The next piece of all of this is that there's probably some gates in there where you say, hey, you know what, you're 15 days past due, or you're 30 days past due, or whatever that looks like for you, and you have to make those decisions for your own business. But there's certain times where you need to step in, right? You need to send an email, you need to pick up the phone and call your clients, you need to have a conversation with the people that you're supporting and say, hey, look guys, time out, we need to talk about this. You need to pay us for our services that we're providing to you. We are not a nonprofit because we have expenses too. And here's the thing with all of this, with the automation and follow-up and those kind of things, you need to stick to the plan. You can't let every invoice that doesn't get paid like become a thing where like you just make exceptions all the time, right? Document the plan for yourself, follow through with it, enforce the late fees, and just work your way through it and be consistent about it. Being consistent about all of this stuff makes so many things easier that I don't see why you wouldn't be consistent, other than you're just trying to be the nice person. And as much as it's good to be nice, you also need to pay your bills too. So, make sure that you're following up and you're doing all of those different things, because the minute you like deviate from it or you make an exception for this client, and especially if you do it more than once, that client knows that they can just kind of push you around a little bit, until at some point you hit to a breaking point. But you don't want to get to that breaking point, because once you get to this next lever is one that creates a little bit of controversy when talked about out there in the world. Now, this lever I'm talking about is all about turning off services for your clients. That sucks. That's a place you don't want to be. That's a place your clients don't want to be. But ultimately, at some point, you might have to do that. So let's talk about that for a minute. Again, I'm going to just say, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. The first thing I want you to look at is your MSA. What does your MSA say about non-payment of invoices? Because if your MSA says you can shut stuff off and they agreed to it, you can shut stuff off because you both agreed to it. If your MSA doesn't say anything about that, that's a little bit more of a sticky situation. I would strongly recommend that you get that fixed at some point in the future, probably sooner than later. And that's a situation where I would reach out to an MSP specific lawyer, have some conversations with them about what's going on, and then get some help that way. But when it comes to shutting services off, you have a duty to provide the services that you agreed to within your MSA and with your other agreements you have with your clients. Your client, in order to receive those services, has a duty to pay you for them. If they don't hold up their end of the bargain, you don't have to hold up your end of the bargain either. Now, the idea here is that it's really easy to put a client on credit hold from like, hey, you called me, I'm not helping you until you pay your bill, right? That's actually fairly effective. Client calls in, they have an issue, and you say, hey, look, you haven't paid, send me the money. If you go on my portal and pay this right now, I'll help you right now. But if you don't, nah, I'm not helping you. And that's it, you have every right to do that. The flip side, the thing that people get squirrely about and they get concerned about is the idea of maybe shutting off people's emails or shutting down their servers in Azure or AWS or wherever. Here's the thing, your license agreements with Microsoft and Amazon and these other places as a reseller of their services, you have the ability to shut those things off as much as they have the ability to shut them off if you don't pay them, right? So here's what I would recommend that you do. If a client is not paying you and they are behind in paying their invoices, make sure that they know they owe you money, right? It is entirely possible that your automated emails and other things maybe have gone into the ether and got stuck in a spam filter or something. 100% possible. So do what your cable company does. Do what your power company does. They call you, they send you a letter, they send you multiple emails. Like, make sure that you've done the work to get in touch with them as much as possible. If they still are unwilling to pay, then you can go ahead and shut their services off or temporarily disable them or something like that. If your MSA says you are going to do these things and this is what this looks like, you are fully able to do those things. Again, Microsoft's own terms say that you can shut their stuff. They'll shut your stuff off if you don't pay, and that you can shut people's stuff off if they don't pay. That's part of the deal. Now, the other thing here is that if you are an MSP and you've got like 911 operators or like healthcare stuff where it's it's literally life and death, you definitely have a little bit more of a duty to keep them active longer than you probably want to. So this is one of those things that if that is your target clients or those are the clients that you have, friggin' get that figured out now. Get it figured out before they don't pay, right? Go figure out what this looks like. And the minute they start getting kind of behind on stuff, follow up and make sure that they understand what's going on. And if they don't pay by a certain time, I still think you have a duty to shut their stuff off. Again, talk to your lawyer, all those kind of things. But if you don't have the ultimate response to them not paying, which is terminating services, why would we ever do what we do? Again, make sure it's in your MSA. Make sure you understand what this looks like. Talk to your lawyer about it real quick. Make sure you understand what the process is. Document the process and communicate with your clients. And if your clients still aren't willing to pay you, time to shut them off at some point, right? And just make sure it's consistent. All of this stuff, all the things I've talked about today, right? Make it automated, shorten your terms, automate the emails, follow-ups, all of this stuff. If you build this process and you just make it to be, this is the mechanical process that we go through when a client doesn't pay, that allows you to just do that on repeat, right? This should be a very straightforward process for you. This should not be a thing that you're figuring out every single time this happens. This is one of those things that if you've not had this happen to you yet, figure that out now. Figure this out this weekend or next week or whatever, whenever you watch this video. Figure out what your process is if a client doesn't pay. And if you've had this issue before, now is the time to document what this process looks like. I would educate your clients about, hey, just in case you're wondering what would happen if you don't pay, this is what this looks like, right? Maybe just make that be part of the conversation and be consistent about it. Being consistent and doing this thing the same way every single time is going to set you up for so much more success, because this should not be a thing you're figuring out on the fly. Because the reality of all of this is that if you are unwilling to enforce your own processes and policies, your clients, the ones that are going to be on that naughty list where they're not going to pay you, are going to end up there. And they're going to end up there on a regular basis. So you need to shift your mindset to make sure that you are having them prioritize paying you. Again, you are a for-profit company. You should get paid for the work that you do for them. All right, now that you've eaten your vegetables, this unsexy topic of accounts payable, accounts receivable is an important one. This is a process that you need to build, and you need just to do this well, from auto pay to following up to late fees to all of those other things. Build this process out, follow it on the regular, and you're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna put my pricing video up over here. And the video I'm going to put up over here is a video that I had an opportunity to interview Brad Gross in which we talked about this in very specific terms. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that video up over there. And at some point, I'm going to revisit this conversation with one or multiples of my MSP lawyer friends, because this is an important one to make sure everybody understands that there is a good way and the right way of handling this, which is being consistent and just holding your ground and enforcing your MSA and other terms in your contracts as well. Thanks for coming on this round with me. Hope to see you on the next one.